Hello friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Code 369. This is JavaScript algorithms and data structures class, and this is a part of full stack development course, and today we are in class 60 of the full stack development. The website from which we are learning JavaScript algorithms and data structures is freecodecamp, and this is a self-learning platform and you can learn by yourself, okay, and otherwise you can watch my videos, that is also best. So either of the choices you can take, okay. So far we have completed basic JavaScript and ES6 and regular expressions and debugging, okay. So now we are going to see basic data structures, okay. So get into it. We have defined a variable called your array. Complete the statement by assigning an array of at least 5 statements in length, 5 elements in length to the your array variable, okay. And your array should contain at least one string, one number and one boolean. So in the basic JavaScript itself we have seen what is array, how to add elements, all these things, okay. So this is just the same thing which we are going to do. So what we have to do is, they have declared a variable name called your array and we are going to assign an array to it, okay. And there should be at least 5 elements and one should be string, okay. Let me make it hello, and another one should be number, so I'm giving 2, and another one should be boolean, so I'm giving true, okay. And again I have to add 2 values, so I will be adding 34, 45, okay. Press Ctrl Enter. And now what we have to do is access an array's contents using bracket notation, okay. Using the index we are going to access the array contents. So this also we have seen in the basic JavaScript itself. So let us do the exercise. In order to complete this challenge, set the second position, index 1 of my array, to anything you want, okay, besides the letter B. So we have to change the second element now. So how to access the second element? We have to give my array and we have to give index of 2, okay, index of 1, because the first element will always start from index 0, so the second element will be having the index of 1, okay. And you have to give equal to, and you can set any other value, okay. For example, I am giving the value of my world, okay. Now the value will be changed. Now in the output you can see the second value is changed, it is my world, okay. Press Ctrl Enter. Now add items to an array with the push and unshift, okay. These also we have seen in the basic JavaScript itself. So if you did not watch all those videos, come from the starting, okay. Start from the basics and continue to these videos. So it will be very easy for you. So we have defined a function mixed numbers which we are passing an array as an argument, okay. So we are having function and we are having array as an argument, okay. Already we know what is function, what is argument, all these things, okay. We have covered all these things before itself. So modify the function by using push and unshift to add I, 2, 3 to the beginning of the array and 7, 8, 9 to the end of the array, okay. So that the returned array contains representation of the numbers 1 to 9 in order. So already we know what is push method. Push method is used to add the elements to an array at the last, okay. And unshift method is used to add the array elements in the beginning, okay. So what we have to do is, we have to add I, 2, 3, and that I is nothing but 1. This 1, 2, 3 to the beginning of the array. So how to add it? We have to tell the array name. So that is ARR, and we have to use unshift. okay, to add all these things to the beginning. So what we have to do? So we have to give, we have to add 1, 2, 3. So I'm adding 1, okay, and then comma, and then 2, and then comma 3, okay. So what will happen is 1, 2, 3 will be added in the beginning, okay, and then at the last what we have to add is 7, 8, 9. So I am giving 7 and then 8, oh sorry, 8 and then 9, okay, using the push method. So 7, 8, 9 will be added at the last, okay. Now you will be seeing this output. So that's it. Press Ctrl Enter. Now remove items from an array with pop and shift. So using pop method, we will be removing the item from the last, okay. So the last element will be removed, and using shift we can remove the first element, okay. So already we have seen all these things. So modify the function using pop and shift to remove the first and last elements of the augmented array, and assign the removed elements to their corresponding variables so that the return array contains their values, okay. So what will be happening is so let us see here two variables, for example popped and shifted, okay. Popped is nothing but actually popped value is nothing but the value which we are removing using pop method, okay, and that is the last element. And the shifted value is nothing but the value which is removed using shift method, and that is the first value. And what we will be doing is we will be taking the value which is removed from the last and it will be assigned to the popped variable, okay, and the value which will be removed using the shift method will be assigned to the let shifted, okay, this shifted method, shifted variable, okay, that's it. So we have to assign this using equal to, and what we will be doing is we will be using arr.pop, okay. So the last element from the arr will be removed and that will be stored in the popped, okay. So already we have seen all these things. So this is just a recall, okay. Press Ctrl Enter. Now we are going to see a new concept, okay. So far we have not seen splice. So now we are going to see splice. Remove items using splice, okay. So let us see an array here. Today was not so great, okay. Then we will be giving array.splice of 2, 2. Here we remove two elements beginning with the third element at index 2. So what does this mean? In the splice method here we will be having two parameters, okay. And the first parameter or argument is number of elements to be removed, okay. Number of elements to be removed. And the second argument is nothing but from which index it has to be removed. For example, here we have declared two elements has to be removed, okay, and this 2 is nothing but index 2. So from index 2, two elements have to be removed. So what is the index 2? Today is 0, today is index 0, and was is index 1, and not is index 2, okay. So today was great. So from not, two values will be removed. So not so will be removed, okay. So the balance will be today was great, and that is the output given here, okay. So we have initialized an array ARR, use splice to remove elements from ARR so that it only contains elements that sum to the value of 10. Okay. So this is little bit tricky. We have to use splice method and we are going to remove elements from this ARR. But what they are saying is it only contains elements that sum to the value of 10. Okay. So we have to identify which numbers will be taking the sum of 10. Okay. I have committed a mistake here. Okay. The mistake was, what I told was the first parameter will be number of elements have to be removed. Okay. And the second is the index, but I was wrong. Here you can see splice method's first parameter represents the index. Okay. And the second parameter indicates the number of elements to be deleted. Okay. So in this exercise what we have to do is we have to remove some elements so that the remaining elements will be adding to the value of 10. Okay. So I think if I remove these elements 4, 5, 1, 7, the remaining elements will be taking the value of 10 when they are added. For example, 5 plus 2 7, 7 plus 1 8, 8 plus 2 10. So I have to remove these 4 elements. So how to do it? Give ARR dot splice of, and you have to give the index from which it has to be removed, and the index is 1. Okay, so give 1 and then give comma, and how many number of elements have to be removed? 4. Okay, so give 4. And you can see the remaining elements are here 2, 5, 2, 1. So 2 plus 5, 7, 7 plus 2, 9 and 1, 10. Okay, that's it. Press Ctrl Enter. Now another thing which we can do using splice is, not only we can remove using splice, we can add items using splice. Okay. So remember in the last challenge we mentioned splice can take up to 3 parameters. So in the last challenge we saw only 2 parameters, but actually splice can take 3 parameters. Well, you can use the third parameter comprised of 1 or more elements to add to the array. Okay. Well, you can use the third parameter comprised of 1 or more elements to add to the array. This can be incredibly useful for quickly switching out an element, all these things. Okay. So here you can see this is very clear. For example, they are using splice method and there are 3 parameters. Okay. And this is the third parameter and it can take multiple values. Okay. That is what said here, comprised of 1 or more elements. Okay. So this is the starting index from where the element have to be removed, and this is how many elements have to be removed, and these are the elements which are to be added. Okay. So here you can see, let us see this example. There are numbers 10, 11, 12, 12, 15 and we are giving const start index as 3 and amount to delete is 1. So at the index of 3, what is the index of 3? The 12. Okay. At the index of 3, that is 12, one element will be removed. So 12 will be removed. Okay. 12 will be removed. And then what will be happening is 13 and 14 will be added. So the result will be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So you are having the result here. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So the elements which will be added in the index from which it was removed. Okay. So that's it. So let us take the exercise. modify the function using splice to remove the first two elements of the array. Okay, so we have to remove the first two elements of the array. So how to do it? Give arr dot splice of, we have to start from the zeros index and we have to remove two elements. Okay, and add dark salmon and blanched almond in their respective places. So we have to add these two things from the index of 0. Okay, so give dark salmon and blanched almond. Okay, press Ctrl Enter. Now what we are going to do is we are going to copy array items using splice. Okay, so here you can see slice also takes two parameters. Okay, the next method we will cover is slice. Rather than modifying an array, slice copies or extracts a given number of elements to the new array. Okay, and slice takes only two parameters. The first is the index at which to begin extraction, and the second is the index at which to stop the extraction. Okay, so the second is the index at which to stop the extraction. Okay, extraction will occur up to but not including the element at this index. So this second parameter will be the index at which you have to stop the extraction. Okay, so this index will not be copied. That's it. So let us do the exercise now. We have defined a function forecast. Modify the function using slice method to extract the information from the argument array and return a new array that contains the string elements warm and sunny. Okay, so the new array should be having warm and sunny. Okay, now return a new array that contains the string elements warm and sunny. So we have to return a new array. So we have to create a new array. Okay, so using let keyword we can create a new array. Okay, and we will be returning that. So give new array. Okay, that's it. Now we have to store the values in that new array using slice. Okay, so we are going to use slice method on arr. Okay, so what we will be doing is we will be copying the values from this arr. Okay, and the condition is that warm and sunny should be copied. So we should be specifying the warm. Okay, the index of the warm. So what is the index? 2 is the index of the warm. So give 2 and then up to which index the extraction should be done. That is what we have to specify now. So index, so at cool the copying should be stopped. Okay, before reaching cool. So we have to specify the index of the cool. So what is the index of the cool? That is 4. Okay, so give the index of 4. So warm and sunny will be copied. That's it. Press Ctrl Enter. Now we are going to see spread operator, and already we know what is spread operator. Okay, before itself we have seen all these things. Okay, and now also we can see it, so there is no problem. So we are having an array here and we are having many values, and we are again defining and we are again declaring another variable, and that is array. Now what we are going to do is we are going to copy all these elements into this new array. Okay, so how to do it? Inside the array what we are going to do is we are going to give 3 dots and we are going to give this array name. Okay, so the elements of this array will be copied to the new array. That's it. Okay, so we have defined a function. Okay, the function is supposed, so the function is supposed to return a new array made up of num copies of ARR. Okay. So here what they are telling is they will be giving number, okay, num. So for that number of times the element of this array should be copied to the new array. Okay, that is the condition here. So how can we how can we add the elements of the ARR to the new array? So simply what we can do is give new ARR dot push, and what we can do is we can use spread operator. Okay, so give dot 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 ARR. Okay, so all the elements of the ARR will be copied to the new array. Okay, it will be done every time when this while loop executes. Okay, so if 7 is the number of times given, for example here they have given 2, okay, while calling the function. So num will be getting the value of 2 and one time it will be pushed and the number value will be getting reduced. Then num will get to 1, okay, and 1 will be greater than or equal to 1, okay, that is true. So again it will be pushed and that 1 will be reduced to 0 here. Okay, so 0 greater than or equal to 1, that is false. So the pushing will be stopped. Okay, so 2 times the elements of the ARR will be pushed to the new ARR. Okay, that's it. Press Ctrl Enter, and here you can see true false true is pushed 2 times here. Okay, that's it. Now what we are going to do is combining array with spread operator. Okay, this is also very easy. Here you can see already there is an array with 4 elements, and here there is a new array, and this also having some elements inside this, but simply we have written dot 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 this array. So all the elements of this array will be stored in this array. Okay, stored in this array. Okay, that's it. Stored in that array. Okay, so don't get confused. All the elements of this array will be stored in that array. Okay, and in this position. Okay, that's it. Now what we have to do is modify the function using the spread operator. So this should be returned. Okay, we have to return sentence like this. So how to do it? So already a variable is declared here, then that is fragment, and here you can see 2 code. Okay, now what I have to do is using spread operator I have to change this sentence to learning to code is fun. Okay, I have to change like this. So what I can do is I have to give equal to, and I have to give array, and what I have to do is first I have to give learning. Okay, and then give comma, and we have to insert 2 code. Okay, but the 2 code is already available here in the fragment variable. Okay, fragment array. So I can use spread operator. So give dot 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 fragment. Okay, and then give comma and copy these strings also and paste it here. Okay, so now learning to code is fun will be displayed. Okay, now you can see it. Press Ctrl Enter. Now we are going to check for the presence of an element with index of. Okay, so this is also very easy. For example, we will be checking the index of dates. Okay, we will be checking the index of dates from this array. So if the array, if the index, if the result from this is positive, we can confirm that the dates is present inside this array. Okay, so if the result from this statement is in negative, we can confirm that oranges is not present inside this array. Okay, that's it. So like for that, like that for this also. If the result from this is positive, we can confirm peers is present inside this array. That's it. So here you can see index of dates returns -1. So dates is not present inside this array. But index of oranges returns 2. Okay. Because the index of orange is 2. Okay. The index of apple is 0, pears is 1 and the oranges is 2. So that's it. So the index of pears will also return 1. So we can confirm pears and oranges are present inside that array. That's it. Next what we have to do is go to the exercise. Modify the function using index of so that it returns true if the passed element exists on the array and false if it does not. Okay, that's it. So what we have to check is whether this element is present inside this array. Okay. So now I am going to be writing if statement. Okay. In the if statement, what I am going to be typing is arr dot index of lm. Okay. So what it will be doing is it will be showing the index of the lm. Okay. So it should be greater than or equal to 0. Then only we can consider that this element is present in the array. Okay. So it should be having the index of 0 or greater than 0, because the index always starts from 0. And open the block here. So if it is present there, it should return true, otherwise it should return false. So here I am going to return false. Okay. So if this condition becomes true, this block will be executed and returned true. So if this condition gets false, okay, this block will not be executed and this will be executed. Okay, that's it. Press Ctrl Enter. And now you can see here the basic data structures is 100% complete. So don't worry about that, because I have already completed this exercises, so it is showing 100% complete. Okay, so you don't worry. And the last exercise will be, here you can see modify an array stored in an object. Okay, up to that we will be completing modifying an array stored in an object. Okay, up to that we will be completing. Now we are going to see iterate through all an arrays items using for loops. Okay, we have already seen these things in basic JavaScript itself. So now we are going to just recall all these things. Now what I have done is I have already inserted the answer. Okay, already I have done the answer. So I am going to be explaining it. Okay. So what here is, here we are having an array. Okay, we will be receiving array as an argument and we will be receiving an element also. So what we will be doing here is iterate through all an arrays items using for loop. And you can read the question here, okay, for 2 or 3 times. It will be better so you can understand it easily. Okay, so let me tell you the concept. Here we will be receiving an array and here we will be receiving an element. So in the question what they have said is, if this element, okay, here this 3 is the element, okay, if this element is present inside any of the subarrays. Okay, actually this is a single array and it has many subarrays. There are 4 subarrays in it. Okay, so if this element is present inside any of the subarrays, okay, so that subarray will not be pushed to the new array. Okay, so here we can see new array. So if any of the subarrays is having the element 3, that subarray will not be pushed to the new array. Okay, so the subarray which does not have 3 will be pushed to the new array. So that is the concept here. Okay, so what I have done is I have created a for loop here and I am giving index of 0. So you already know the index of the array will be always starting with 0. So I have give let I equal to 0 and the index will be incrementing by value of 1. Okay, so the index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And here we are specifying the upper limit for the index. Okay, we can write like this: I less than arr dot length, or we can write I less than or equal to arr dot length minus 1. Okay, using this concept only, arr dot length minus 1 only, I have explained this concept in the basic JavaScript. Okay, basics. So I have already explained how it works in the basics itself. Okay, so this is just a recall. So even if you do not understand this particular concept, I less than or equal to arr dot length minus 1, just remember it. Okay, so whenever you are accessing an array in the for loop, you can just give like this. Okay, so this is nothing but the index of the last element. Okay, arr dot length minus 1 is nothing but the index of the last element. And inside the for loop we will be writing if block. Okay, if condition, and that if condition will be saying arr of index I dot index of lm equal to minus 1. So what does it mean? This arr of index I is nothing but the subarray. Okay, you can see this subarray 3, 2, 3, 1, 6, 3, all these things. So when I is receiving the value of 0, okay, this is arr of index 0. So this is the 0th index. Okay, you can see 3, 2, 3. And we will be checking whether this element is present inside this subarray. Okay, using index of like the previous challenge. And when it is not present, that means equal to minus 1. If it is present, greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so when this element is not present in this subarray, what we will be doing is we will be adding this subarray to the new array. Okay, new arr. So we will be using push method here and we will be adding this subarray to the new arr. Okay, because the condition is the subarray which does not have 3 should be pushed to the new arr. Okay, that is the condition. So we have simply written like this. Okay, so that's it. But you can see the 3 is present inside all the subarrays. Okay, the 3 is present inside all the subarrays. So no subarray will be added to the new arr. So it returns an empty string. Okay, here you can see empty square box. So that's it. Press Ctrl Enter. Now we are going to see create complex multidimensional arrays. Okay, so multidimensional arrays are nothing but there will be an array. Okay, and inside that array there will be another array, and inside that array there will be another array, and inside that array there will be another array. So that is called multidimensional array. Okay, so that's it. And in the question what they have told is, we have defined the variable my_nested array set equal to an array. So modify my_nested array using any combination of strings, numbers and booleans. So the data elements should be strings or numbers or booleans, okay? So that it has exactly 5 levels of depth. So it is saying the array should be having 5 levels of depth, okay? Remember, the outermost array is level 1, okay? So you can see here, this outermost array is having the level of 1, okay, the depth of 1, and inside this outermost array there are 5 subarrays, okay. So all the 5 subarrays will be having depth of 2, okay, because all the subarrays are nested inside one array. So this will be having the level of 2, depth of 2. And what they are saying is, on the third level include the string deep. So we have to create some third level array and we have to insert string of deep. So what we can do is, so this array is the first level array and inside this array there is another array, subarray, and that is level 2. And what I am going to do is I am going to create level 3 array. So inside the second level array I am going to be inserting another array, okay. So it will be third level array, okay, third level array, and inside that we have to create a string of deep. And then on the fourth level include the string deeper, okay. So I am going to be inserting fourth level array again, okay. So in this array what I am going to be doing is, this is a second level array. Now I have to create a fourth level array. So I am inserting another array, and this is third level array, and inside the third level array I am going to be inserting array again, okay. So this is fourth level array. So I am giving string of deeper, okay. And on the fifth level include the string deepest, okay. So I am going to be creating a fifth level array and I am going to be inserting deepest. So this is second level array and I have to create third level array now. Then I have to create fourth level array and then I have to create fifth level array, okay. And I am going to be inserting deepest, okay. So you can insert these third level array, fourth level array, fifth level array in any of these arrays, okay, any of these subarrays, because all the subarrays are having second level depth, okay. Even you can include the fifth level array in this array also, okay. Even you can include the third level array in this array also, because all the 5 arrays are having the depth of second level, okay. So now press Ctrl Enter. Now we are going to add key value pairs to JavaScript objects, okay. So these also were seen by us in the basics, okay. So now we are going to see it again, that's it. So here you can see there is an object and it is having properties of player, fighting style, human, okay. So this thing can be called as property or key, okay. So this can be called as property or key. So player is a property or a key, okay, we can call like that. And the value assigned to it is called as value. So here what they have done is, they have given the object name and they are using dot and they are giving origin, okay. So this origin property will be added to the second character object with the value of South Korea. That's it. And using bracket notation also we can add the properties like this. Okay. So when we are having space between the words, we will be using bracket notation. Okay, otherwise we can use dot notation. Okay. So we have already seen what is dot, what is bracket, all these things. So now hair color is a property which is added to the second character object with the value of dyed orange. Okay. Here what they are telling is a foods object has been created with the 3 entries. Using the syntax of your choice, add 3 more entries to it. Okay. So we have to add 3 more entries to this foods object. One is bananas with the values of 13. Okay. So we have to add bananas property to the food. So we have to type the foods object and give dot and give bananas. Okay. And give equal to 13. So I am going to be copying it using Alt Shift down arrow. So then I am going to be changing bananas with grapes and give 35. And then strawberries with 27. So now you can be seeing the object here, okay, in the console. You can see banana 13, grapes 35, all these things, okay. Now they have got added to the foods object. Press Ctrl Enter. So now what we are going to do is, we are going to modify an object, okay. This also we have seen already in the basics. So now what we are going to do is, we will be just recalling. Here we have defined an object user activity which includes another object nested within it. Set the value of online to 45. So here we can see online, okay, property, and its value is 42. So we have to change the online property to 45, okay. So how can we access this online property? Can we directly access it? No, because this online property is nested inside another object called data, and this data object is nested inside another object called user activity. So the order of accessing it is, first we have to give user activity, and then we have to give data, and then we have to give online. Okay. So that is the way of accessing it, because online is present inside data object and this data object is present inside user activity object. Okay. So we can use dot notation to access this. So give user activity dot data dot online, okay, equal to 45. Press Ctrl Enter. Now what we are going to do is access property names with bracket notation, okay. And one important sentence is there here, and what is that? Yeah, here you can see bracket notation is very powerful because this bracket notation is very useful because sometimes object properties are not known before runtime. Okay. So what they are telling is, here you are having an object, okay, and here you are having an function. Here you are having a function, and we are giving a parameter called scanned item, and this scanned item is nothing but apples. Okay, apples is the scanned item property. So now what they are saying here is, bracket notation is very useful because sometimes object properties are not known before runtime. So before running this function, we do not know what is the value of the scanned item. Okay, what is the value of the scanned item? So what is the property that is accessed as scanned item parameter? Okay, so we do not know what is scanned item. So bracket notation is powerful for accessing properties like this. So before itself we do not know what is the property, so during runtime only we will be knowing what is the property. So for that we can be using bracket notation. Okay, now what we have to do is um, we have defined a function in check inventory which receives a scanned item as an argument. Receive the current value of the scanned item key in the foots object. Sorry, return the current value of the scanned item key in the foots object. So simply what we have to do is we have to return the value of scanned item. Okay, so give return, and the scanned item is present inside the foots object. So give foots and give index of, we have to access the scanned item. Okay, so give scanned item. So you can be asking, how do we know that scanned item is present inside foots object? So that is given in the question itself. Okay, here you can see foots object. So that's it. Press Ctrl Enter. Now we are going to use delete keyword to remove object properties. Okay, so this also you already know. This is just a recall. So we are going to delete the property of an object. So what they are telling is we have to delete oranges, plums and strawberries properties from the foods object. So how to delete all these objects, all these properties? So here you can see oranges property and plums property and strawberries property. So all these properties should be deleted. So how to do it? Give delete and you have to give the object name and give dot and give property name. So property names are oranges. I am using Alt Shift down arrow and I am changing the properties plums and then strawberries. Okay, press Ctrl Enter. Now check if an object has a property. So this also we have already seen, has own property. So what is the use of has own property? It will be checking whether this property is an property of users, okay, object. For example, we are having a property and we have to check whether that property is the property of a particular object. Okay, so here we are having Alan and this is a property, and here we are having users and this is an object. So we will be checking whether Alan is a property of the object of users. Okay, using has own property. If it returns true, we can know that Alan is a property which is present inside the object of users. Okay, that's it. So now what we are going to do is finish writing the function so that it returns true if the object passed to it contains all four names. Okay, so what they are telling is we have to check whether all these four names are the properties of the object, okay, passed to it, and we should return true if all these properties are present inside that object, and we have to return false if they are not present inside. Okay, and one important thing here is it should contain all four names, okay, not only only one name. It should contain all four names. So these all four names should be a property of that object. Then only we have to return true, otherwise we should return false, okay. So here you can see an object, okay, here you can see an object and this is a function, okay, and this is a parameter user obj, and this parameter is nothing but this object, okay, users object. Users object is here, okay. So this object will be passed as a argument for this function, okay. So now we have to check whether all these four properties are present inside this users object, okay. So we will be using if condition. So now let me write the answer and explain it to you. So this is very simple, and you can see I have used if condition here, okay, and I have used has one property. So what I have done is I have written the object name here, okay, and I have given dot has one property, and I have given the property name Alan, okay, inside the double quotes. That is important. Here in the properties they have not used double quotes, but you have to use double quotes here, okay, that is important. So what I am doing here is I am checking whether Alan is a property which is present inside the user object, okay. So like that I will be checking for all the four properties, okay, and in between them I have used AND operator. So why I have used AND operator? Because they have given it should contain all four names. So it will be checking whether all the four properties are present inside that, okay. So AND operator is used here because if any one of the property is not present, it will be this condition will become false, okay. So that is why we are using AND operator. So already we know what is the usage of AND operator. So if any one of the condition fails, becomes false, the whole if block will be not executed. So that only we are using AND operator, because we need all the properties should be present inside that object, okay. So now it will be checking whether all the properties are present inside that object using if condition, and if the if condition becomes true, it will return true, okay, otherwise it will return false. So you can be simply giving return false, or else you can use else statement also, okay. Give else and curly brace, okay. So this is also fine. So here the code will get complex, so just give return false. So it is a easy way, okay, that's it. Press Ctrl Enter. Now we are going to use for in loops, okay. So far we have not seen this, so this is a new concept, but this is very easy. For example, let us take users as an object, okay. Here you can see users object in the example. Here you can see users object. So we can take that users here, okay, the same users. So this is an users object, and now I am using for in. So in this for in I am declaring a variable called let user, okay. I am declaring a variable called user, and I am telling the code user in users. So what will be happening is this user will be getting the separate properties of users. For example, Alan is a separate property of users, and Jeff is a separate property, and Sarah is a separate property. So in for in what will happen is this user variable will get the separate properties of users. For example, at the first time the user will be getting the value of Alan, okay, the property of Alan, and it will be executed in the execution block. And after this iteration is over, then the user will be getting the value of Jeff, okay, and then the execution will be over. And after that it will be getting the value of Sarah. This user will be getting the value of Sarah, and this execution will be over. So what we are doing in for n is we will be accessing the separate properties of an object, okay, by giving user in users. So this users is nothing but object name, and this name can be anything, okay, that is our wish. That's it. Now what we have to do is we have defined a function count online, okay. Use a foreign statement with this function to loop through users object passed into the function. And what they are saying is we have to access, okay, we have to access each property of this users object, okay. So we have to access Alan, we have to access Jeff, we have to access Sarah, and we have to check whether their online property is true or false, okay. So if their online property is true, we have to count how many users are having online property as true, okay. So among these three users, we have to count how many users are having online property of true, okay. So we can see a function here which is receiving a parameter called user obj, and this user obj is nothing but users object, okay. So this object, so this object is the thing which is passed as user obj, okay. So now we have to use for loop, for in loop, I'm sorry, okay, this for in loop, okay. So what we have to give is we have to declare a variable, let's say user, okay, in users, okay. So all the properties of users will be accessed with the name of user, okay. So give curly braces, and then what we are going to do is we are going to create a variable called count and set it to 0. So whenever we are getting the online property as true for any user, this count will be increased, okay. So that's it. So now we are going to use if statement here, okay. So here in the if condition, what I'm going to give is I have to access this online property of the users, okay. So here I'm going to give you I'm going to give users obj, okay, because that is the object which we are receiving as argument, okay. And in that users obj, so here also I have to give users obj, okay, I forgot. In that users obj, okay, here users, we are going to access the property of user, okay. So this user is nothing but this Alan, Jeff, all these things. So I am going to give user in the bracket. So why am I using bracket here? Because we do not know what is the name for this user, okay, this is unknown. So we are using bracket notation, and we are going to give dot and online, okay. So you can see the object here, and inside that object we will be accessing the username, and that is Alan, and we will be accessing the property of online, okay. And if it is if the online property is true, okay, it is a boolean actually, this true is a boolean, we have to add the count here, okay, this count will be increased. So give count plus plus. So whenever a user has online property set to true, this count will be increased, okay, count will be increased by the value of 1. So after each iteration, okay, after each iteration is nothing but what we can call is um, accessing separate users. For example, in the first iteration we will be accessing Alan, and in the second iteration we will be accessing Jeff, okay, like that. So after each iteration, when the count is getting increased by 1, so this count variable will be updated, okay, that's it. So finally what we have to do is, we have to return here. So give return count, okay. Actually the return statement should be given here, okay. Return should be given after the for loop is over. I thought this is the place where for loop is over, okay. I thought this is the place where for loop is over, but you can see here this is only the end of the if loop. So the for loop should be completely over and then the count should be returned, okay. So after all the processes are completed in the for loop, finally we will be returning the count value, okay. So every time in each iteration the count value will be updated. Here you can see, okay. So after completion of all the iterations, we have to return count. That's it. Press Ctrl Enter. Then get array of users. Now what we are going to see is, so let me write the answer and I will be simply explaining it to you, okay. So you can see here, okay, one thing. This is very easy concept. For example, we are having an array, sorry, we are having an object here, okay. We are having an object here. We are having an object called users and it has properties of Alan, Jeff, Sarah, Ryan, okay, all these things. So now what we have to do is, we need all the properties of this users object stored in an array, okay. So we are having properties of Alan, Jeff, Sarah, all these things. We need only the property names of users and store it in an array. For example, we have to store the properties of Alan, Jeff, Sarah and Ryan into an array. So how to do it? Only property alone. So how to do it? So we will be using object.keys of obj, okay. So this obj is nothing but the argument which is passed to the function, and that obj is nothing but the user's object, okay. This object is passed as obj here, okay. So if we have to get the properties of this user's object, what we have to do is, we have to use object.keys of obj, okay. So inside this parenthesis we have to write the object name. So we are returning the value here, okay. So it will be returning. Here you can see Alan, Jeff, Sarah and Ryan. Okay, that's it. Press Ctrl Enter. So I think so this is the last exercise. For example, yeah, now we completed generate an array of all object keys with object.keys. Okay, so now we are going to see modify an array stored in an object. So that is the last exercise of basic data structures. So let us see it. Modify an array stored in an object. So you can see an object here, okay, an object here, and inside that object there are some properties: name, age, data, okay, location, data, all these things, okay. So you don't have to think about that. That is not a problem. So here you can see there is an object called friends and it has the value as an array, okay, and it has the value of an array. So what we have to do, if we have to change something inside this array, so that is what we are going to see now. For example, the data key contains, there is an object, okay, user is the object, and in that object the data key contains 5 keys, one of which contains an array of friends. So there is user object, and inside that user object there is data object, and inside that data object there is an object called friends, okay. From this you can see how flexible objects are as data structures. So we have started writing a function add friend. Finish writing it so that it takes a user object and adds the name of the friend argument to the array stored in the user.data.friends. Okay. So this is very simple. So let us go to the function here. So this is a function and it takes two parameters called user obj and friend. Okay. This user obj is nothing but the user object. So this user object, okay, this user object is passed as an argument to the user obj. So this user obj is nothing but the user object. And there is another parameter called friend. So for the friend they have inserted the value of Pete. Okay, this is a string. And now what they are telling is this friend name should be added to the friends. Here you can see friends object. So in this particular array we have to add that friend name, okay, this Pete. So how to add it? So what we have to do is we have to add it. So first of all we have to give the object name, that is user obj, and then we have to give data, okay. In this data there is friends object, okay, so give data. So user obj dot data dot, and inside the data there is friends, so we are giving friends. And what we are going to do is we are going to push friend, okay, here. So what we are doing now is we are pushing the friend name to this friends array, okay, to this friends array. That's it. So then what we are going to do is we are going to return what? That particular array. So how to return that particular array? Just copy this, okay, and paste it here. So this is how we can return that array, okay. So now you can see already there were Sam, Kira and Tomo, okay. Now you can see Pete is added in that array. Okay, press Ctrl Enter. So now we have completed 100%. Okay, so next is basic algorithm scripting. Press Ctrl Enter. Now we can see convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, so this is an exercise of basic algorithm scripting. So here you can see convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. So this is basic algorithm scripting and we will be seeing it from the next class. Okay. So thank you for watching my videos, friends. Thank you for supporting me. Let us see in the upcoming videos. Please do subscribe. Thank you.